Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. This is PRASIDDHA, otherwise known as the Kundalini Yogini. Been here for over a decade talking about spirituality, but specifically the Dharmic path, Sanatana Dharma, Tantra, yoga, Ayurvedic medicine, and overall expanding consciousness and living as a human being in this world. Today I want to talk to you guys about a really big spiritual click that I had this week, and hopefully it brings you something, gives you deeper reflection and revelation on where you're at in your life currently. We are between two eclipses right now. We had the solar eclipse last week, well, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago in Leo, and we are about to have a lunar eclipse upcoming this week in Pisces, as per Western astrology. Eclipse periods, especially the in-between, really puts our lives into perspective. And a lot of times we can go through these limbo states, right? These bardos of transition of the in-between, when things have not fully closed, but they also have not opened yet. Yes, Kashi. And you know, I was riding out this eclipse feeling really grounded, really good in my flow, in my relationships, and myself. And of course, as eclipses do, they show us things that we could not predict or foresee. And I had some major changes to my work, my career, my day-to-day routine and devotions come up in two different areas this last week. So I've been doing a lot of internalization and contemplation on these changes and this ending of one chapter and the beginning of another in my life. And something that was weighing heavily on me was this feeling of, am I missing something? Did I miss something in the process of, thinking that I was in alignment, that I was listening, that I was being with the flow of life, with the flow of divinity, following, Goddess's path for me? Did I somehow miss something? Because there are things in my external reality that are not yet resolved, or I should say, I don't feel they're quite a match for where my consciousness is at, right? And this is the topic that I want to talk about today. When we feel that gap, we feel that divide between our inner space transformation, but it hasn't yet matched our 3D reality, our physical reality. What is going on here? And, I think it's very easy, especially as a self-aware, spiritually aware person, to beat yourself up even more for that gap, right? You're like, hey, I had all of this change and transformation and growth I've implemented in myself. Why am I still attracting the wrong partners? Or why am I still struggling with money, right? These are things I think many of us struggle with in certain areas of our lives, right? And so I was reflecting on this same thing, kind of like, oh, am I missing something? But part of my consciousness felt like, no, you're not. You need to have grace for yourself. But there was something I was just not understanding or catching in the process of what I was seeing externally and what I want for myself, or where I feel like I'm at, right? And I had this epiphany talking to my mom, who is such an angel and grace in my life. And something really deeply hit me. The physical reality around us is old. It is always old. The physical reality is exactly the manifestation of your past yous. All of the variations of you and your previous desires are coming to fruition in the present moment. But your present moment self, your present moment desires are not yet physically manifest around you. Whew. Damn, like what an important reminder, because I think it is so easy to judge or be hard on ourselves for this reality not having fully met us yet, where our consciousness is at. But hello, that is the nature of it, right? The 3D reality is the slowest to change and to catch up because it is made of matter, right? It is not just consciousness. It is not just ether. It cannot change as quickly as our consciousness can, or even as quickly as our mind can. And so even though this is a truth that I have definitely known and even spoken about, it kind of just hit me in a new way where I was like, oh yeah, I can exhale, I can relax because I didn't go wrong, I didn't fail. This reality is actually a profound success in realizing all of the ways that my previous desires have actually been met and been fulfilled and been achieved. They're just not my desires anymore, but to acknowledge that they were once my desires, and let me acknowledge that, right? Let me soak in that. Let me be grateful for that. And let me also understand that what I'm heading towards, what I'm creating for my future, is coming from this transformation of my consciousness. So, my friends, if there are things that haven't yet manifested for you and met you yet, rest in this trust, rest in this truth, universal law of reality, that your reality is going to catch up to meet you. But the current reality, physical reality around you is old. It's an older version of you, and it's in older desires that you have manifested. So much more is awaiting us, my friends. And the thing is, it always will be. It always will be, because I, for one, I know I'm always going to be constantly evolving. My desires are going to dissolve and evolve and transform and be let go of, and so is my physical reality around me. That's going to be an ever-evolving process. So before you're quick to judge or, berate yourself for not having the corresponding reality yet, it might be quite likely that what you are living in and learning from is a previous version of you's manifest existence, a previous version of you's highest desire and timeline. And to remember that, so that then we can further alchemize from a space of deep understanding of truth, a space of acceptance and trust on life, on universe, on God, on goddess, on the self, that there isn't a dissonance actually. It's only a perceived gap, but it's not a real gap. From our limited view of time and space, there is a divide, right? But there isn't really a divide. And we haven't gone astray necessarily. So these are just my eclipse contemplations. And I will say I am going through a big chapter close in my life, one that I actually did not at all anticipate happening until maybe at least another year from now. But alas, isn't that always how it is? We always think we have more time than we do, my friends. And I'm getting every communication and indication possible that this last 3-year chapter of my life is at a beautiful and complete end, and that a whole new chapter of me is beginning. And I am sitting in so much unknown. But the good news is I am quite familiar with this unknown. I have sat here so many moments, so many times, and I am choosing to really deeply trust myself and God. I am choosing to move and act from a space that is from trust and ease, and not from survival, and not from grind energy, hard work energy, I have to make it happen energy. I'm done with that story, and I'm ready to step into the next phase of my inheritance. So I hope you guys are allowing the shedding to happen in this eclipse, and waiting and trusting that clarity will come and what's next for you will be revealed. Sending you so much love. If there's any specific topic you would like me to speak on next, I am having a lot more time and space and energy back to doing my YouTube channel. So if it relates to consciousness and contemplations like this video, or if it's related to holistic health, Ayurvedic medicine, working with the goddess and Tantra, or anything about Hinduism, drop the comments below and I would love to hear from you on what you'd like to chat about next.